All right, peeps. Hello and welcome to the first step demonstration. All right, so what you see right now is the actual workbook. This workbook is used in conjunction with the wheel that is on the front cover. The multi-wheel there with the multicolors. It's exactly what the wheel looks like. I'm going to expose it in a minute. So that's what the wheel looks like. But first, let's go back to the book. It's imperative that you actually read the book, can learn from it before you move on to use the wheel, so that way you can get an understanding on how to use both. I explain in very simple terms on how to use the wheel and the book together. All right, so on further ado, I'm going to pull this away so you can look at the wheel. I'll zoom it in a little bit so you can see all the emotions that are on there. There's 22. And the example that I'm actually going to give you is in the book as well. So the example I give right now is, first, let's look at the process. So you start this button right here, an imaginary button, of course. You have a thought. Now let's say the person chose in the wealth or the health field area that they want to work on. They want to work on their health, right? So then you assign a thought. They say, okay, I failed at diets before, what's the point? Or let's just keep it, I failed at diets before. Then they have to come over here to step 2 and assign a feeling. And the way that you do that is you take this wheel, and it does turn, and you can turn it however direction you want. You turn it to, in this case, I give an example of annoyance. So this person's failed at diets before, and they're annoyed about the whole thing. Now, let's look at their actions. They're going to look at their actions and say, okay, well, you know what? I go to fast food 3 days a week. I overeat every time I go out to dinner or have a dinner at home. I eat really late at night right before I go to bed. I drink a liter of soda, regular pop every day. And then those are some of the actions, not all of them, but these are just some actions which lead to some result. So you have a thought, you have a feeling, you create actions from the thought and feeling, and then you end up with some kind of result. In this case, an unhealthy person, right? The feedback when you're looking at your current situation will always be, yes, I'm getting exactly what I'm getting based on my thought, feeling, and actions. Okay? So you have to run this whole sequence, all 5 steps together with the thought and feeling, because they all belong to each other. Now, how do you change that? Well, the person might say, you know what, man, I really look at this situation, it's not going in the direction I really want it to go. So they can say, all right, so how do I start changing my behavior? And this is going into the second half, or the prediction component, is you take the same thought, for instance, I failed at diets before, and you flip it to, I failed at diets before because I didn't know enough about eating right. Now the person is going to say, you know what, I feel a little better on that. I think I'm going to assign that feeling, I feel hopeful. I feel hopeful that I'm going to actually change this behavior pattern. And so what happens is, you notice there's page 19 on here, and the person will go to page 19 in the book, which will be hope. And hope, it'll define the emotion, it'll define the emotions around it, how they interact, and then it'll give you a full example of the 5 steps in hope in action along with that feeling, and then some suggested actions that you could take on your own. Of course, they're suggested, so you would have to do, think of some of your own as well. You could certainly use what I've suggested, but I would rather you create some of your own too. All right, so let's look at this. Let's look at the flip side now. So I failed at diets before because I didn't know enough about eating. I assigned hope. Now, what are some actions could I take to sort of get me into in the steps towards being a healthier person, right? Well, maybe, when I go to McDonald's tomorrow, I don't order Biggie everything. Maybe I'll just order the fish sandwich and maybe a fry and a Coke. Whereas before I was ordering big fries, big Coke, big burger. Give me the biggest of everything you got, because I want to be big. So this mentality is what you're doing. So you're shifting that, right? And then, so let's say, so your actions are now, instead of ordering number 5, which is the big everything, you order number 1. And so you go and you have your lunch, and tomorrow you're like, I'm gonna go to McDonald's, but maybe this time, instead of ordering everything, I'm still gonna get the fish sandwich, but I'm gonna forego the fries this time, and I'm just gonna get a Coke. Okay? And then who knows? A week from now, 3 days from now, I don't know the time frame. You have the person, whoever buys the model, or you sets the time frame that you want to change. And only acknowledge what you're doing. You don't acknowledge what you're not doing, because it's not important at this point right now. Then you look at the end of the week, you have to measure, right? You got to put this time element. So at the end of the week, you say, you know what, this week, hey, you know what? I only went to McDonald's 3 times instead of 5. That's great. That's a huge accomplishment. Then you can say, well, also I've modified what I'm eating on the menu. Perfect. So you've done 2 major actions to put you on the road to being a healthier person. So then you look at your result, and your outcome says, based on your thought, your feeling, and your actions, the outcome, you create an outcome. You know what? I'm changing my behavior. The outcome is I'm eating better, right? The feedback in this case answers 3 questions. 1, am I on the right track? 2, I'm way off. Or 3, I got exactly what I wanted. But in this case, it would be on the right track, because what you want in the end as a greater outcome is to be healthy. So you're on the right track of becoming a healthier person. So that's how you use it. So the key thing is, the whole idea behind using the first step process is to take the thoughts and feelings out of your head and put them down in front of you so you can see them. And you're not judging how good you are or bad you are, or you're not doing the right or wrong thing. You're looking at your situation for what it is. In your mind, you're saying, based on my thought, feeling, actions, result, and feedback, am I getting what I'm getting? And in the acknowledgement situation, when you're looking at your current situation, yes, every single time. Because you know what? No one is creating your situation but you. No one. Or you can blame Johnny, or you can blame your parents for doing whatever. That's blaming, but it's still you, right? But you don't stop there. You have to look at the other side too. And that's where this person said, you know what, I'm really tired of, I don't want to be unhealthy anymore. So what do I got to do? You got to change the way you think. And you have to change your feeling. And you have to start creating new actions. And then you have a different outcome. And your feedback will acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge the feedback. The problem with most people's behavior is they try to change the outcome using the old actions, feeling, and thought. You can't change something that's already happened. This has occurred. You have to go back to the thought and the feeling behind it and flip those 2 things. And that's why I give you the wheel. And if you turn the wheel, every emotion, right? Every emotion has its own page in the workbook. And there's 22 altogether. So the key thing is to acknowledge. So the wheel helps you in 2 things. Initially, 1, you have to fully acknowledge your current situation, your current condition. Don't try to jump over it, because it will always pull you back. It wants to be acknowledged. So the key thing is for you is to look at your current situation, figure out what your immediate need is, run it through the model completely, all 5 steps. Listen, if you get into this right here, you get into these feelings, they're going to be pretty powerful, they're going to be strong. Feel them. If you got to cry, cry. If you have to, get angry, get angry. But you have to feel them. It's because we suppress them that they get stronger. We want to be able to express them. And now you get to at home in your own comfort of your own home. And then you can go out into the world and practice them. I don't mean practice, being angry at people. What I mean is practice your new way of thinking and your new way of feeling and creating new actions that is going to help you, grow. Because listen, change is growth and growth is change. So if you're not changing, you're not growing. So that's sort of in a nutshell. But the four main ideas behind the workbook, it does four things. One, it helps you identify the exact thought and exact matching feeling that goes with the thought. That's huge. We try to a lot of times we mismatch those two. The thought and the feeling don't match. And I'll give you an example in a minute. Make you aware of your current emotions. Now you're assigning the right emotion, not trying to cover it up. Two, help you identify your behavior and your result and your feedback, which you've learned through by using the wheel, and help you think in real time by being aware of what is currently happening, or could happen if you choose to continue your thinking, feeling, and behavioral pattern. So, once you acknowledge your condition, you'll become a better predictor. We do this anyway, but you'll become a better predictor on what's happening. What could happen if you decide to, if I follow this through, you can do it in your head. Wow, if I follow this through, man, it's not going to lead to a good place. Let me flip that. Let me try this. So it's always this constant testing, measuring, and tweaking. If you're not doing that, then you keep doing the same old things, you're going to keep getting the same old things. All right? So we have to be careful with that. So again, let's go back. Push the button, give it a thought. It has to be a complete thought. Whatever it is. I'm not a good money manager. Okay? That's a complete thought, not like money. It can't be like that. It has to be a complete thought. Assign a feeling. I'm not a good money manager. Or maybe you assign blame and you just feel, oh man, that's right. I keep blaming my wife that it's her fault that I'm not a good money manager. Right? That's the right feeling. What are some of the actions that could you be doing by not being it? Well, number one, you don't write anything down. You don't pay the bills on time. Maybe you blame your wife for not getting the bills out on time. You're not keeping a record of what you're spending, right? These are all parts of these are actions, are actual physical movements that you are doing now in a current situation, right? That's what you want, not what you're going to do or you want to do. It's what you're actually doing right now. Okay, those are your actions. The result of that is, well, who knows how much money you got in the bank, right? Maybe not as much as you would like, put it that way. And the feedback is you're getting exactly what you're getting based on your thinking, based on your feeling, and your actions. There you go. It's in a nutshell. It's not saying, oh my God, I'm a bad person because it's not saying that. If you want to continue to get the same result, then continue your old thinking that you're not a good money manager. But continue to be blaming, and you'll keep getting and keep doing what you're doing, and you'll keep getting the same thing. So when you're tired of not being a good money manager, then you can flip that and say, hey, okay, I'm not a good money manager because I never was taught how, or I don't know enough. Okay, I'm not a good money manager because I didn't know enough. Maybe in this case, you feel satisfied, like, okay, all right, so in your mind you think, well, what can I do to become a better money manager? What are some actions that I'm not doing? Well, okay, I just listed some of the things I'm not doing, so why don't I flip those? I know you're not keeping a record. Hey, you know what? I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to buy a little tablet, little pocketbook tablet, and a pen. And every time I spend money, I'm going to write down what I spent. And you don't even have to put what you spent it on. Just put the dollar amount, so you keep a track. And in a week after, you can say, "Holy smokes! Look at how much money I actually spent. This nickel and dime of me is killing me." Right? So then you go. So those are your actions. Get your book. You're writing it down every time you spend something, and at the end of the week, you check your outcome. Hey, how did I do? Well, you know what? Based on me writing it down, I was aware I didn't spend all this money. So I realized halfway through the week that I'm spending less money because I'm realizing I'm spending more than I thought. The feedback is, in this case, remember I asked 3 questions. 1, am I on the right track? Yes, I got exactly what I wanted, or I'm way off. Remember, you're on the way. Remember, the prediction is always on the way to achieving something. Now, once you achieve it, then the feedback would be, yes, absolutely, I got it, right? But in this case, you're becoming a better money manager. So you keep the same thought, you keep the same feeling, then you add to your actions. And then your outcome, so you keep doing this, you do all 5 steps over and over and over again, right? Like a broken record. Guess what? You create a habit. So as if you create habits, you can undo habits. Okay, you can go undo them by changing your thought, your feeling first, and then creating different actions if you wanted. You can't use the same thought and feeling to create different actions or outcome. You're going to get the same thing. So that's why you have to always create a new thought and feeling. All right, thanks. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, definitely you can use the contact form on my website. And thank you. I really appreciate your support. Take care.